In this video, I look at some Kevin Levin focused episodes in the original Ben 10 series and explain why as a character he's an 11 out of 10. Get it? Because he's... Until I started doing research for this video, I didn't realize how similar Ben and Kevin were as characters. The first instance of this is actually Kevin's introduction episode of his namesake. Throughout the episode, Ben becomes more and more like Kevin until their ideals clash, but let's explain what happens over the course of the episode first. There are two main purposes in the episode: introducing a new villain, Ben's age, and teaching Ben the meaning of responsibility, since a little character development can't hurt nobody. Ben's argument against Grandpa Max in the beginning is, I've used the Omnitrix for all these heroic purposes, so why can't I use it selfishly? And I'm agreeing. Why is Max hindering Ben's goal of reaching peak happiness? He just wanted to see two fat dudes wrestling, but in all fairness, if he wanted that, he could have just watched Big Show and Mark Henry wrestle on the WWE network for only $9.99. Max just wants Ben to understand that he needs to use the watch responsibly each time, not just for the benefits. Max goes to see if he can get his money back from the hotel, and Ben and Gwen head to the arcade. This is when they first meet Kevin. You'll see their first parallel right here without even noticing. Ben and Kevin are able to bond over the similar thoughts on the arcade that it sucks. After Kevin and Ben help each other out, they become fast friends, and Gwen leaves, but who cares? And Ben, learning about Kevin's past, becomes more and more enticed by his lifestyle. And when given the opportunity to steal the new sumo wrestlers video game, he can't refuse. Ben forgets Max's words about responsibility and uses the Omnitrix irresponsibly throughout the episode. And I'm assuming he never watched Spider-Man, because he would probably be listening a lot more. Kevin, after knowing about the Omnitrix's abilities, immediately thinks of using their combined powers irresponsibly, and a clash at the train tracks is when Ben finally learns to be completely selfless and responsible. Kevin wants to switch the train tracks to get paid, and Ben reaches his breaking point, saying people could get hurt, and because Ben is thinking selflessly and Kevin's thinking selfishly, the two fight. Kevin escapes to get revenge on the people who we had seen in the beginning of the episode, and now the two characters who were seemingly very similar have become polar opposites, two sides of the same coin, because Ben's responsibility is to beat Kevin, since if we really think about it, he was the reason this all happened. He switched the tracks since he planned on using Accelerate to escape, and he was intending on getting revenge with Heat Blast powers. Kevin had never truly had a positive influence, unlike Ben, and that's where their characters differ. Kevin even addressed the reason he ended up the way he did.
Guess I went too wild with power. I don't have anyone else like you to help me.
And he still didn't want to change. Ben tried to help Kevin, but you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves, and Kevin escapes once again. The next time we see Kevin, he's already begun to regress mentally in the episode Framed. In this episode, Kevin returns to wreak havoc and hand out L's to the entire Tennyson family. Ben's aliens are being made to look like trash by Kevin because he's furious for not being able to change back to his human form after his last encounter with Ben. Somehow, Kevin has the audacity, the gall, the stones, the audacity again, I don't care, to blame Ben when he tried to take the Omnitrix powers himself. Kevin still can't take responsibility for his stupidity, and now he's a certified freak. 7 days a week. I'm sorry, I apologize. At first, Kevin was just purely selfish, thinking about himself and how to get the things he wanted, any means necessary. Now he's so focused on revenge and ruining Ben's life, he didn't even think about stealing the money from the men he fought Ben in, which should tell you how different he's become since his introduction episode. And it's only been like a couple episodes, I think. Like, what's good with you, Kevin? What's good with you? And Kevin's mutation to Kevin 11 is when all hope is seemingly lost. Now, based on the two previous episodes, you would think Kevin's a raging piece of human waste with no redeeming qualities. But you wouldn't be completely right on that. Season 2's grudge match shows that although Kevin is rough around the edges, rough all around, and is pretty trash overall, there's still at least some hope for him. In the episode, a majority of it is spent with Kevin and Ben practically being attached to the hip and having to fight for the entertainment of the aliens on the ship. Ben's Omnitrix times out, and that's when we really get to see Kevin shine. When Ben starts coaching Kevin, we see a lot of positive traits come from him. Due to the situation they're in, he has to do and trust what Ben says, since he knows more about, obviously, his alien's powers. Well, not really his, but you know, you get it. We learn Kevin's extremely competent, and at least for a short period of time, he learns the value of teamwork. He even learned to say thank you.
Oh, and thanks for the tip on combining my powers.
These episodes told great stories of responsibility, revenge, the value of teamwork, and had a great story overall of good and evil being two sides of the same coin. Because the reason Kevin is such a great antagonist for Ben is because he's the perfect foil for him. Someone his age with similar interests. Kevin is who Ben would have been if he had never had the positive influences he did, like Grandpa Max, for example. If you haven't seen these episodes, I recommend you do. It was a fun watch. No pun intended, I promise.